There we go. Hello and welcome to another video. Thanks for joining the Knowledge and Power podcast. Tonight, we're talking about broken pieces. Find out all about it coming up next.
Sacrifice and really acknowledge and be mindful of the sacrifice he made.
Sorry. What can you say? And we're back. What's going on,
Hey,
people?
hey,
Thank
what's
you for
going on?
joining.
Good
Knowledge and
evening.
Power.
What is up?
Good
up, y'all?
evening, Miss Staria Bell.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining. Tell people
Yep.
that we're on. Share. Let people know we're on.
Yeah,
Start
do
this
that
great
thing.
conversation tonight.
Yeah, it's different. It's a little different conversation. We've kind of covered it a long time ago, but I'll explain what I mean by that a little bit later. But let's just jump into it. How has the week been, fellas? Anyone can start.
Week's been pretty good for me. Had one little sad moment. My neighbor, who was 93 years old,
Wow.
she had a little fluke accident, and we got the news this morning. She passed.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she
Sorry to
was
hear
like
that,
our neighborhood watch. We just want to honor her tonight a little bit. Name is Sue,
Sue, was she the one who lived right next door? to you
right
on the
next
side of-
door.
Wow,
Yeah.
man. Sorry to hear that.
My prayers out to the Sue family.
Mhm.
Yes,
Man, that's tough.
definitely.
But other than that, the week was pretty good.
Other than that, week has been wonderful because the weather, we got our
The weather
We
is
got it.
beautiful.
How's
Yeah.
Michigan weather been?
Tell him, Jay. Tell him about it.
Tell me. Tell me.
Trader up in here. Trader up
it's
in here.
been like a recap on a summer day.
What?
Wasn't
Yeah,
that poetic? That was poetic right there. Y'all don't get poetry like that in North Carolina, Nate. That's inherited from the wisdom of the Michigan wind.
that's right.
Wow. Well, that's good. I'm happy for you. That's good.
Yeah.
Because we've had similar days. Cold in the morning, but by noon, 70s, 75.
Yeah. And ain't nobody rocking winter coats here, bro, in the morning time. We
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
start out our day
Yeah.
rocking shorts.
We had a little bit of a cold front. Cold front came through.
yeah.
Had some frosty mornings, but other than that, man, yeah, the rest of the day after the morning time is just it's beautiful.
Mhm.
And it's back to normal next week, so no more frosts.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but
in other words, sounds like you had it in Michigan weather where you are. You try to get away from it, but anyway,
Take it with you,
anyway, yeah,
take it with you.
Somebody sending curses my way, but anyway, yeah, I just want to, I had a great week, but listening to Jake's news by his neighbor just had me thinking about, when you go, you don't want to go like that, and, you always can't choose how you go. Well, you can't choose how you go, but
Right.
when your life does come to its finality, man, you really want to make sure you left something behind. That weighed on me right there. And I'm not saying she didn't leave anything behind. I don't know what her
Right.
story is, but you just want to in case you leave on a fluke,
Yeah.
you want to make sure you left something behind. Make sure you got some notches in your belt for your legacies and things that you've left behind for the people that care about you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Live life on purpose.
live
That's
life
all
on
I'm
purpose,
saying.
That's
man.
good.
And that's what I think a lot of people live life actually in arrogance because and that's just the
Deep.
truth, man. I just believe that because when you said that triggered that thought for me, Nate, when you said when you leave here on a fluke. A
Mhm.
lot of people think that they control
Mhm.
or they can navigate as they
Right.
get closer to their end. And that's
Mhm.
we can't gauge it. We never could really gauge it by age because we
Right.
just didn't hear about it as much. But ever since the world's been spinning, people
Yeah.
have been leaving this earth at all age groups.
All ages.
But because now we're into the social media, is more prevalent. It's more in
Yeah,
your
you
face.
see it. Yeah.
Yep. So now we're saying, wow, younger people dying like I never seen before. Well, it's because we weren't as connected and
Right. Always been happening.
able to just comb the globe like we can now,
Right.
thanks to
Right.
the internet. So yeah, a lot of people have that arrogance, man. They think because I'm young or because I'm this and because I'm that, you cannot dictate
Yeah.
when that time
I
is.
tell
So
you, man, I agree with that so much, man. I lived the majority of my youth thinking I had time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm only
You
20
think
some years
that.
old. I got plenty of time.
Right. Who
Yeah.
wakes
You look
up
at
and say,
you look
"Oh,
at people that are you look
this
at
will be
people
the
at that
day."
age, or you 30, or you look at people that are 30 and 40, you think they old, ancient, and when they 50 and 60, they decrepit. Until
Yeah.
you get 30, 40, and 50, and you're like, wow,
Yeah.
that time went fast.
yeah.
I'm saying, man,
And you don't think you're that old.
yeah, you don't think you're that old, and you gotta live and embrace every moment and make the most out of it. I'm learning
Yeah.
that as I've moved down here in Carolina. That is something that I really have taken notice of, is embracing moments, and just opening myself up to be able to experience life to the fullest.
That's
You
good.
know, yeah,
It's good, man.
it's something that's been weighing on me, and I'm trying to have my
Long
latter
overdue.
half, the latter half of my life, just really
Yeah.
enjoying life.
Well, I'm gonna challenge you on that, Nate,
Go ahead, my brother.
because I just saw, and people may have seen this. It's like you know how they do those YouTube shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, somehow I came across John Travolta, Mr. Staying Alive, Grease Lightning,
Staying alive.
or those who are really old heads, Vinny Barbarino from Welcome Back,
Welcome
Carter.
back, Carter.
Oh man, you're
Yeah.
taking it back.
So one of the things actually that I enjoy watching is Kevin Hart has his own like a little talk show. It's
Oh,
called
yeah.
Heart to Heart.
Yeah. I see
And
it.
and I enjoy it because he actually, he's not in his silly mode, but he's
Yeah.
actually engaging in thought-provoking conversations with his guests. He has some pretty good guests on there. So he had
That's good.
John Travolta on there.
Mhm.
Travolta. And John said that his 10-year-old son just asked him what was his view on life right now.
Mhm.
And then he said to his son, who was 10, because he kept emphasizing that he was 10, he said, well, since I'm in the final chapter of my life, I guess I kind of look at life like, and he was like, wait a minute, Dad. He said, why would you call it the final chapter of your life? So this is kind of piggybacking on what you just said, Nate. That's why I'm recalling this story. His 10-year-old son said, why would you call it the final chapter of your life? He said, 30 years ago, you were how old? And he said, I was 30. He said, and now you're 60. He said, you can't vision yourself living another 30 years?
Wow.
And
He's
he was
only
like,
60.
he's 10 years old. And he was kicking that knowledge to his daddy. So he said, and with my son putting it in that type of view,
Mhm.
he said, now I'm trying to put my mindset in the realm where I can just enjoy life, and I could possibly live another 30 years. So I'm not going to automatically pack it up because I'm 60 years old.
Mhm.
Right. 60 is young.
And just start calling it a wind up now.
Right.
We don't know that. And my mom is 91 years old.
Way to go, moms. Way to go.
Yeah.
So, and feisty as ever.
Yeah.
Right. If anybody should be staying alive, it's John Travolta.
Exactly.
It's, exactly.
Can you imagine
Exactly.
the memes if he passed away too soon?
Yeah.
Memes, the internet memes. Staying alive.
Yeah.
Right.
Crazy. Yeah.
60
Good
is young.
evening. Good evening. Good evening.
So yeah.
New
So
people.
well, I'll just sum up my week like this. I'm not going to talk about my week, but we kind of got off track. I made the statement in one of our podcasts before that I was going to kind of capture all the colleges that I had been to.
I see you wearing one today.
Before. Yeah, so we're kind of behind. So
Yeah.
we missed some shows. So I kind of got out of sync. But I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna keep it moving because I don't want to keep every time. So far,
Look at that
so
list.
far, my list.
Oh, look at that list.
I started off at Central Michigan University, and that's where I met my bros that are sitting across from me now.
Go Chips. Go Chips.
Yep. So I started there in 1988. Was there for 2 years. And then I had to segue to Lemoyne College in DeWitt, New York.
DeWitt, New York.
So that was
wow.
I
besides
was there. I
wasn't.
was there too.
Yep. So I got close to Syracuse because that was the college I
Mhm.
originally got accepted to, but did not go. And that's my
Mm.
favorite college of all. So
all,
we
of
all know that.
all.
Yep. And then DeWitt, I think did pretty good. That was the best I ever did. No, I didn't ever do. That was the best I did academically after Central. Because
Mhm.
I only had like really one good semester at
Mhm.
Central out of my 3. But I did really good. But it was just the out-of-state taxes were killing me at
Right.
Lemoyne, so I had to shut down that dream and come back home.
Mhm. Yep.
Mm.
And Detroit wasn't having it,
Nope.
so I tried to go back to Mount Pleasant, and I had to do some things before they would let me back up in there. So I ended up going to Mid Michigan Community
Harrison,
College
Michigan. Harrison,
in
Michigan.
Harrison Township. Exactly.
MMCC, baby. MMCC.
Yep.
You
So
know where they all are.
Yeah, I
yeah,
because I was
exactly.
there too.
Oh,
No.
that list is also my list.
Well, here's where the list just kind of changed up a little bit. So then from
Mhm.
there, I went to Wayne State.
Mhm.
Wayne State, and that's where I got my first and only 4.0.
Wow.
wow.
Way to
And the
go, brother.
only
Way to
reason,
go.
and the only
At
reason why I
home.
did not at home, exactly. Only reason why I didn't finish at Wayne State because they dropped my program.
Oh,
They dropped my
I hate
program,
when
and
they do that.
you had to be like months away from graduating, at least a
man.
semester away from graduating in that said program, in order for them to honor that.
I
But
see.
no, I wasn't there. So after they dropped it, I was just like, okay, I don't know where to turn, where to go. I don't know what I want to do with life. Life was just moving. So to be continued next week,
All right.
I'll be rocking another shirt. So
Bated
Wayne
breath.
State this week.
Bated breath. I can't
Bated
wait.
Right.
breath. Yeah. Yeah.
Come
So
on for the
tonight,
4.0s.
yeah, so 4.0. But so tonight's topic, we're talking about broken pieces in relationships. And I'm not just talking about per se. And when people think relationship title, they automatically think about the romantic relationships.
Mhm.
And I'm not really, we're not really talking about that. We're talking about all relationships,
All
be it
relationships.
romantic, be it siblings, be it parent to child, be it
Mhm.
friendships.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to actually to sustain relationships, and that doesn't come easy. And when I said that we probably covered this, we did a show way back when titled which was my favorite actually podcast that we did was called Who Taught You How to Be a Man.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
classic right
yeah.
there. That's a
That was a
classic.
classic. Yeah.
Good
So
one.
you can go back and check that out, people, if you haven't seen it. And we really kind of shared some of the broken areas of our lives, and candidly, and we talked about that, and that kind of made me think about that conversation that we had on the podcast of people pouring into our life and how that can really impact us in sometimes a positive way and
Mhm.
sometimes in a negative way if we never deal with those broken and shattered pieces in our life.
Yeah.
That we will
You coming
actually
deep, bro. Deep.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just the truth. We will actually impede those broken pieces on the people that are closest to us or around us,
Yeah.
Mhm.
who we're trying to be in relationship with. And they may never know. They may just think that you just having another day that you're tripping.
Mhm.
And no, you're having a day where you're having a flashback, or I may have done something that caused you to have a flashback or remind you of something that's happened in your past. And then I saw a podcast also early in the week where there's an older gentleman who was sharing with a younger gentleman. And he was pretty much talking about how, which I'll try to put that link in there. I thought it was pretty good. It's long, but it was good. I listened to it twice. And he pretty much put the issue on the men who are causing the women in life so much trauma
Mhm.
in their brokenness, because
Watch that.
he said that they were forever the prey, and pretty much that the gentleman prey on them.
Wow.
And so for some relationships, like I said, not just singling it to dating relationships,
Mhm.
but if a person can be so broken
Yeah.
by a friendship, well, I could easily say, well, you know what, Jake, you know what, Nate, I'm not going to get cool with y'all no more because back in 1987, before I met y'all, XYZ happened and I'm never going to trust again.
Right.
Or
Okay.
if I choose not to share that, I can just try to engage in the relationship, but I'm retaliating, I'm moody, I'm
Right.
snapping back at y'all because y'all are reminding me of something, or I don't have this filter to be able to trust anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When you put it
And-
that way, it sounds silly, but that's reality.
That's reality.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, and you know what it puts me in the mind of?
What's that, bro?
And I'm sure some thoughtful artist has already put this out on the internet somewhere. But just imagine, you know, you're a person who has broken pieces, okay, because of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you go through life and you try to form relationships with other folks. And then those other folks embracing you, they feel pricked and cut for some reason, not realizing that your invisible shards are sticking out all over you.
Right.
Wow, man, that's pretty good.
And they end up being damaged just as much as you are because of the unfinished business or unfinished pain that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
I
That's
need
like
to try that myself.
like unintentional cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, if we're going to be involved in relationships, man, we might as well be invested. And what does that investment looks like? You get a return, and that return may not possibly be, you know, a personalized benefit to your life. But if I'm engaged in a relationship with a brother, with you guys, or with one of my siblings, or with my parent, I'm gonna go around them or around you guys. So I might as well just try to pour into or try to encourage or try to, because we can't fix. It's not about trying to fix everybody.
Mhm.
Right.
I like to look at it like this, because I know we can't fix everybody. I like to look at it as I'm not going to ignore the obvious things. And I think I'm doing a disservice if I were to just say, well, that's on them. And I don't want to rock the boat. I'm just going to keep it moving. And if they want to share, they'll share. But I think
Yeah.
that's it's lack of a friend. What's up?
I'm just wondering who's living a life of crime behind y'all with all them sirens.
Listen, dude, stop getting into
Is that Detroit or is that Muskegon?
stop listening to
not here.
Detroit's
Is that
business,
Muskegon or
man.
Detroit?
That's
It's not
Lansing,
here.
man. That's Lansing. How about
Lansing ain't on the show.
we can hear it from Lansing.
Wow. Good thing I don't live there anymore.
Oh my goodness. People, if you see snow in the box of Nathan Hall, you know why. Man, bro.
No, I'm just messing with you. That's
Yeah.
some powerful insights, though, bro. Yeah.
So I just think that you know, we do a disservice when we choose to ignore it and just kind of, you know,
What
keep
do
it
you
moving.
think the dangers are of ignoring it or not dealing with it?
Like you gave the good analogy, bro, that you said a person gets, did you say cut?
Pricked and cut.
Pricked and cut. Yeah, I'm being pricked and I'm being cut.
Just from trying to be close to you.
Yeah, and there's no way I can fool myself, or I'm going to attempt to try to fool myself and say I'll just try to avoid it or avoid your rough days. No, at some point, and I think that's just why God puts us in relationship with folks. It's because, you know, and I'm not trying to quote a scripture because I don't want anybody to say I'm using it out of context, whatever. But that iron sharpening iron thing, I want you to be your best you.
Right.
I really want you to be your best you in every way possible. Now that doesn't happen overnight, I know.
Wow.
But I always say this, man. If you guys were, you know, messing around or hanging out with extra people other than your wives, and you know, in intimate settings, in the sense of like darkly lit restaurants in the corner, of a secluded room where the tapestry of the music is eloquently bouncing off the walls.
Wow.
Yeah, man. At 8:45 p.m.
PM.
Yeah, you know, and for me to ignore that
Yeah.
then really, that's just not cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Right.
not cool. So
Yeah, you'd have to say something.
yeah, I have to challenge. It's all about a challenge. I'm just challenging you to be better. I will hopefully
Mm-hmm.
think that you would challenge me to be better.
Yeah.
So that being said, my man on the video, the YouTube video that kind of sparked my mind of thinking, he went on to say, when he said that men were the reason that a lot of women are broken, he said he said the advice is unbalanced. He said, when you're a small lad, because the guy's much older dude, he said, when you're a small lad, he said, your uncle pulls you in the back room and he says, this is how you get to the girl. And he's talking to his, his young nephew that's probably 11 or 12. This is how you get the girl. You talk to her, you throw her a rap, you stroke her ego by saying she's this and she's that, and she's beautiful. And then, you make her blush. You make her think that you're into her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's telling a young person that, spitting, teaching them game. He's saying then that same uncle will pull his nieces in the back room and say, this is my advice to you. At all costs, you keep your skirt down. That's not a balanced message.
It's true. That's true. But that's
Right.
that's how we that's how we do. That's real.
That's how we
That's
do.
real.
So you got the young lad that's been taught by his uncle. He knows how to spit game now. All she's been told is you keep your skirt down.
Mm-hmm.
But he's really fashioned the young person with a 45 or 50-year-old mindset, by saying, as a 50-year-old, this is how you stroke a woman's ego.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a 12-year-old, 13-year-old running game girls his own age with stuff they ain't never even heard before. Why? Because they're young and impressionable.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it is like the young men are taught conquest at all costs. Conquest,
Yep, that's right.
Exactly.
That's right. And the more notches you get in your belt, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Man, young fellas get celebrated when they get a girl's number or they get their first sexual encounter. They get celebrated. Oh man, all right, bro. Nah, all that stuff. But then the young ladies are being trained and pruned or groomed rather to be chaste and pure, and that sex is nasty and boys are bad and all this other stuff.
Right.
And so you have these two different dynamics, and they finally collide.
Yeah. Somebody's
somebody's gonna get hurt.
You got a young person spitting game 30 years his senior. Mentally he's spitting game far in advance to a young person. He's now on the same level. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So that's how that, as you said, conquest earlier, one of you guys said that that's how they're able to succeed in their conquest, because they're at a whole nother level of game wise. So thinking about it, why do we, when we're just, is it wise? I'll say this. Is it wise to just jump in any relationship without warning a person about where you are, if you're broken, about this happened, and
or something serious, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, is it too intrusive if I were to? Does it come off strange if at some point early in our relationship, a friendship, if I were to say, "Hey guys, this is kind of what happened in my past"?
Yeah. I don't think that happens.
That don't happen.
I mean, Jake can jump in. I don't think that happens because I believe people are so geared towards being accepted.
Yeah.
And putting on their best face so that they can be accepted in whatever relationship you might be talking about. They're not going to lead with all of their issues because that's probably going to drive somebody away.
Why though? Why?
Because also, the person that's on the other end of that, that's also about to enter this relationship. They're not looking for anything difficult and hard to have to deal with. They're not looking for trying to help somebody piece their life back together. They're not looking for any of that. They're just looking to have a cool friendship,
happy fun times,
or a good interpersonal relationship, or a good boyfriend girlfriend relationship, a good marriage, whatever it might be. That's all they're looking for. They're not looking to be somebody's savior, somebody's psychologist, or whatever.
Exactly.
If that happens down the road, once you've invested time and you become good friends or good lovers or whatever the case is, you deal with it then. But up front, I don't see that happen unless you're like a rare breed.
No, because nobody wants to hear your problems right away.
Exactly.
They're pursuing happiness.
There you go, Jake.
So in that
Wow.
pursuit, you know,
Yep. The pursuit of
Y'all
happiness.
some cold brothers.
you know, because the thing is, you know, I could do bad by myself.
Exactly.
Woo!
You're telling the
Wow.
truth, man.
He's
Yeah.
telling
I mean,
the truth.
just
I
think
know,
about dating. You know, if you find somebody that you like and you're interested in dating this person, and you leave with all of your problems,
Right.
this is what I'm bringing to the table.
Oh,
Well,
they're
not
gonna
all,
run.
but not
You know what I'm
lead
saying?
with
That's
them,
that, that's
but don't be
that's gonna
afraid
run
to
that person
share.
off.
Don't be
Mhm.
afraid to share.
Let me warn you.
Yeah.
I'm impulsive. I'm very manipulative. Many women in my family hurt me, and
Mhm.
I struggle with this, that, and the other. No, they're gonna be like, okay, check please.
Right.
Brother.
You
This
know,
brother.
that's not gonna work.
So
Like Jake said,
exactly.
people are pursuing happiness. They don't want all that stuff up front.
Mhm.
But you know that,
But I mean,
and
ideally, your point is right. It is wise, but is it wise and effective? That's the
Yeah.
question.
well, I guess it's wise when you see. I guess the question is when you enter any. Well, you can't say
Yeah.
this with siblings and family
Mhm.
members because
No, that's
they're
Mhm.
well, you don't have to go around them because I will admit that, yeah, I do have
Watch
I
it.
do have more. I'm not afraid. I'm from Detroit. I do have I do have better, stronger relationships with some family members than others,
okay.
and I think that's the reason. The reason why that is because we invest in one another,
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
good.
we don't mind hearing. Okay, this conversation I can tell here is not going to be one of those happy, just check in moments. It
Mhm.
could go somewhere else, and I could either rush off the phone or leave the house quickly and say I'll try to
Right.
visit next time, or I can just hang in there, man. And here's the thing: I'm thinking. I know I'm going way back now. I think all of us had to at some point, and I know in Detroit public school system we had to read Richard Wright, Black Boy.
Oh yeah. I remember
Remember
that.
that? Remember that, Jake?
I don't.
You don't
But
remember
I know
that?
a guy. I know a guy named Richard Wright. That's I
Jake,
didn't think.
we about to give you some homework. Not me,
Yeah.
the
Read the
viewers
book.
of the Knowledge and Power podcast. I think they want you to come back with a synopsis of the story.
Yes.
next time
Black
we have
boy.
Now, I
Book
will
report.
read.
Boy.
I'd like
Book
to.
report. That's right.
Yeah.
But the reason why I brought that up is I was just sitting here listening to how you said people really don't want to lead with that. They don't want to get engaged, and it kind of took me back to reading that story because it was kind of a sad book that I gave pushback for reading that with my teacher. And I remember that there was a part, and this kind of parlays of what we're talking about relationships, when he was hungry.
Mm-hmm.
He was hungry, and he was so hungry that, okay, I just got to stop talking about it or thinking about it. I'm hungry. I got to say it. Something got to produce.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to his mom, and this is how I thought about this because I think about this is how some people deflect relationships. He
Mhm.
went to his mom in his hungry state as a kid and said, "Mom, I'm hungry." And her classic comeback was, "When go catch a congry." What the heck is a congry?
Right. What is that?
She wasn't ready to deal with the pain of not being able to feed her child
Right.
at that moment.
Okay.
So she tried to deflect by trying to make him laugh. And that's
Mm.
that thing of always wanting to be in that happy state and not
Yeah.
wanting to actually deal with what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a lot of relationships that suffer because of that very
Yeah.
thing. And they just move on. And that right there could tell any child that may face something like that with their parents, where they deflect the obvious, the real and the
Mhm.
raw.
Mhm.
That may dictate to that child as they grow older. Well, if I couldn't talk to my own parent about XYZ,
Mhm.
then who can I talk to in life?
Right.
That
they
was
just
my
shut down.
mindset.
That kind of
So-
stuff does shape you.
Yeah.
It shape you. It
You-
does shape you, man.
You don't grow out of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Without-
That's something
Right.
that you have to intentionally change
Yeah.
as you mature and gain knowledge and wisdom, knowledge and power. Shameless plug. Yes, you gain these things. Then you have opportunity to try to change those things. You know,
Right.
it's interesting you say that because my wife and I have been having some deep conversations lately,
You
about
mean
our.
Michelle, the one who held it down last
Oh yeah, let
week?
me shout
Last
her out, man.
week.
Let me shout her out.
Shout
Shout her
out.
out. But don't forget your thought. But can you drop that knowledge like she did right here? Shameless plug. What do you want the people to do, Nate? The pressure is on.
Man, I need to record her doing that because she did a
That's what I was-
phenomenal job. She did a phenomenal job. But I want the
She did-
people
Yeah.
to look at their YouTube page right now. Pull up your
Mhm.
YouTube page. Right there at the bottom of this video, there's a thumbs up button. Hit that button that says the like button. Don't hit the dislike button. Please don't hit that one. Hit the like
No,
button.
don't.
Get those likes up. And then next to the dislike button, you'll see the share button. Hit the share button. Share that on your social media. Let people know that we are here and, talking about these great topics. Down below the share button, just to the right, is a subscribe button. If you have not already subscribed, hit that button with the notification bell so you know when new videos are being posted.
Yeah.
And most importantly, while you're here right now, drop us a comment so we can
Come
talk
on.
to you. I know that was not as good as Old Girl, but
Oh, you did it. You did that. Go, Nate. Go, Nate.
I gave him a 4, Jake. I
Gave
gave
me
him
a
a
4.
4.
4 out of 10. A 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Oh man.
Oh,
Dang.
Oh my
Nate.
goodness.
Yeah,
I'll
she
give
got
you a
she
9.
got some special mojo, man. She got some special mojo.
She was like the knowledge and power. But anyway, I'm sorry, man. Go and talk about what
She
y'all.
got some special knowledge. She got some special juice, man.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, we've been having these conversations about our relationship and improving things and doing better. And one of the things that we've instituted is the brutal honesty policy, and it's all about not just honesty for honesty's sake, but honesty for accountability's sake. Because we know we have issues, we think we have things that we deal with, and those things, if you don't get them taken care of, can affect your relationship, and be that marriage or anything else. And so, just on par with what you're saying, things happen young in life, and you embrace them, and they become part of your personality. And then, as you get older, like I said earlier, you have to start to change those things as you become aware of them. And so, part of that is if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, allow them to hold you accountable. But in order for them to hold you accountable for things that you want to change, you got to be honest enough to
Right.
express those things.
Right. Don't despise accountability.
Yeah, because that will definitely help you change if you're willing to accept what they say on your behalf, or what they
Man.
challenge you to do.
Wow.
Most people run from that.
Because it's tough, man. Change is tough. Change is tough,
Mhm.
especially when it's change is something that you've been so familiar with the whole life.
Yeah.
Pain that you become a bedfellow with.
Yeah.
It's something that you become comfortable with. Is familiar to you. It's hard to
Right.
change that, and sometimes you don't even want to face it because that party that you don't like.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. It's easier to just stay there rather than try to do something new. Change is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Change is very tough, man. And I did say I was chatting it up with Jake earlier, and I said that it's an important topic, but the same token, I want us to be real but have fun with it, be truthful in it, but yet have fun with it.
Yeah.
And we could have easily, gotten somebody who has studied these areas and brought them on here, but I just felt like we should just go ahead on and approach this just with the simple. Everyday knowledge that we use when we're in situations with said people around us, because honestly speaking, you can have someone speak into your life and coach you through,
Right.
and tell you what you should say, what you should do when you're dealing with siblings or parents or romantic relationships. But when the rubber meets the road, you're not going to have that coach in your ear saying, "Say this."
Right.
When something hits you and you need to express, well, when you just did that, it triggered XYZ.
Yeah.
So that's why I just feel like, sometimes we just kind of got to approach it and tackle it, and just have the conversation of how do we filter through
Right.
everyday life, because we're still doing everyday life and things, and we just can't say it's things from our past.
Right.
New things are shaping and impacting us and building us up. And scarring and causing scars our way, even in our adulthood.
Yeah, life is no joke.
Yeah.
Life constantly keeps the pressure on.
It does.
Constantly.
It keeps the pressure on, but it's a good thing. It's a good kind of pressure. So my thought is, so I guess this is a rhetorical question. I'm just kind of throwing out a question.
Mhm.
So if all those broken pieces are there and they're swarming around, so why not just why would a person just not say, well, let me just stand back until I can sort and sift through all of this before I try to dance off into getting to know someone as a friend, as a potential lover, or going around a sibling or something like that? Why not just kind of work on me dealing with these raw and real feelings? Why don't they just kind of step back?
Man, I
What's
ask that
preventing them?
question all the time.
Mhm.
It seems like people are so afraid to be alone with themselves and their whole makeup and being. It's like, and even if they're not going to hold themselves accountable, because that's a mirror. You got to look in a mirror, and they definitely don't want nobody else putting that mirror in front of them and say, "Look at you. This is what you are. This is what you're doing."
Right.
And I guess because it's too painful and hurtful in some situations,
Hmm.
but it has to be done regardless. And that's where you get all these different escapisms that come in. People don't want to live in reality,
Ooh.
but the bottom line is eventually it's got to happen.
So loneliness is that key, that just will not let a person begin to try
I
to
don't even know if
deal
it's
with those things.
loneliness. I think it's the fear of what you see when you are alone, or what you
Okay.
it's
Yeah, I hear you.
yourself.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
those broken pieces, you're looking at them and you don't like it, so avoid the mirror, or either
Mhm.
But you know,
Yeah.
sometimes I think we put that onus on that person, and that's any relationship,
yeah.
that I'm hanging out with this group of people because they're going to make me escape or forget about, or they're going to
Oh man.
replace or glue together those broken pieces. But before y'all respond on that, you made me think about work this week. I will say I went to a training
Mm-hmm.
this week, and they did this little icebreaker where they wrote out on this little sticky notes, and they stuck it on your space, and they explained what gifting was. So I got there late. I walked up in there fashionably late,
Mm-hmm.
and had to stroll to the front of the room to take a
Fashionably.
seat that was available. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell y'all, man. This work week was a whirlwind. I literally jumped up from my sleep and ran out the house. I had to drive all the way across town to get to this meeting. It was crazy. So I was late.
Wow.
But
Wow.
so you had to stand up and say, I gift you courage. And you had to, explain
Oh, wow.
what courage was. And my word that they gave me was loneliness.
Hmm. No more
The word
loneliness.
exactly. The word that was
Right.
stuck to my area that I had to go to was lonely. I was like, crap, how in the heck am I gonna be gifting somebody loneliness? And
Wow.
she started at my table. I was like, crap, I gotta put something together within
Yeah.
two people saying something before me. And I
Hmm.
stood up and I was like, I gift you loneliness. I was like, but loneliness is not a bad thing because it allows me time to reflect alone areas that I need to encourage myself
Wow.
or praise myself for strengths that I'm overlooking.
Hmm.
Ooh, that was good.
And then I realized
Powerful. That's the
when I was
preacher in it.
driving
That's the preacher coming.
when I was driving home, I was like, loneliness is not a bad thing. So I didn't lie to them because it does give you a chance
Yeah.
to shut and quiet the noise, and you begin to
Mhm.
reflect on certain
Right.
areas of your life that you may
Yeah,
not be happy
that was a
about.
good thing to say. Yeah, that was a good thing to
Yeah,
say.
It was. So why do
Mhm.
people hate it so much?
yeah.
I think it's for
I
the reasons you said, Jake, because then you're faced with things you're probably not ready to deal with. You
Yeah.
know, introspection is hard because, like you said, you take a look at the things that you know you need to change,
Mm-hmm.
things areas you need to develop in, look at the pains that have not been settled, the cuts and bruises that have not been healed. You know, along with the strength that you need to praise yourself for. But a lot of times, introspection leads to
Yeah.
the stern awareness that you've got some things to work on. And if you're not ready to work on those things, then you don't want to be in that alone state.
Yeah.
You want somebody that's going to come distract you from the
Exactly.
things that you have to deal with. And a lot of times we try to use relationships to replace that. But
Mm-hmm.
eventually, one of you guys said it, eventually it's just going to come to the surface. The relationship can only do so much for so long before the layers start to get peeled
Oh,
back that you have to deal with, because that stuff's going to interfere with your relationship at some point.
yeah.
Yeah, those things that are broken inside of you are going to surface and start to interfere in your relationship at some point. Once all the fun and giggles are over, you know, yeah.
Yeah. I just think that I mean, even to the point of, you know, of how I deal with young people all the time, and you know, I think about the press of what they have to go through just to get to our program at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when they leave us, they're going directly back home to whatever said life is.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to, I'm getting a lot better at it, because in my older age, I've got my patience were starting to leave. I recognize that, but I've done a better job of trying to allow them their humanness to do some things and say some things that are just not cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand it's not coming really from them. A lot of them are hurting and they're broken.
Yeah.
And you look like an adult who at one time you just happen to be an adult, and at one time an adult in my life did hurt me or disappoint me. So I'm just the one to catch the flack or catch the bad day. So I really, whenever a classroom tries to wild out, I try to tell my staff, don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Just like we as adults had to push past, you know, getting here because you may have gotten some kind of shut off or some bad news in the mail, or something didn't turn out the way you wanted to turn out in your personal life, but yet you still had to press and come to work.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them, hey, check your life at the door. Now, I'm not saying don't share with me what you're going through, because I can be sympathetic, you know, and say, okay, well, you know I can't put too much on you today or whatever, but no way am I going to ever embrace and afford you the opportunity to take it out on us.
Right.
You can just go home.
Mm-hmm.
You can just go home. And I think we have to feel that same way about young people. But I guess my concern is, you know, how do we go about trying to fix some of those areas? That's the big question.
That's the big question. I think people need to be open and not apprehensive about, you know, submitting yourself to another person for accountability, even if that person is a professional that you seek professional help from.
Right.
You have to recognize and admit that you're being arrogant and prideful by saying you can deal with these things on your own, and you can't.
Yeah.
And so if you've got some serious issues that need to be dealt with that are hurting your relationships, you need to get the help that you can, or at least be willing to work with someone else to help you navigate through that through an accountability type of system.
Right.
Wow.
And even with that, they can't do it for you.
They can't do it for you. You still got to do the work.
Let's say you got to do the work.
Still got to do the work.
So got to do the work. So in that video that I referenced earlier, from the older gentleman, he said that he said that women need to see more examples of authentic manhood.
Oh, very much.
Very much.
What is the definition of authentic manhood?
Okay, let's
explore that. Did he say that?
He went on and he just pretty much said, you know, that we couldn't, that we had to, that we're not given trust. We have to earn trust. That's what he said. He said, and a lot of times, he said people are apprehensive because he was more so referring to romantic relationships.
Okay.
So that's how he came from, that angle. So he was just pretty much saying no woman starts off just trusting you. You have to earn that.
Yeah.
And the only way you can earn it is by being authentic and, you know, just pretty much being consistent.
Yeah.
And you know, and my thing is, you know, consistency can be a hard thing sometimes. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for it. And don't nobody put nothing in the comment, but life can happen sometimes to interfere with consistency. So, but I try to listen to this advice, and I really try to see if I can put it in play. But sometimes, you know, I don't know. It can be a great challenge.
You know, I listened to a video. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jake. I'll let you go. Go ahead, my brother.
I was just gonna say I feel him on that, because that consistency. Because I guess I try to be the same every time I'm, in the presence of a person.
Hmm.
I try to be the same person all the time, and I can't stand when somebody, is not the same, or if they, and I can
Right.
understand bad days and all that, but that's
Let me
not a
think.
license to
32 years. Do I remember
mess it
Jake
up on me.
ever-
What'd you say?
I said, let me think. 32 years. Do I ever remember Jake doing being
Right,
inconsistent with his relationship with me?
right.
Mm-mm-mm. 32 years. Wow.
It's been 32 years,
Yeah, it's
man.
been a long time.
Right.
But I was
But
gonna say I was watching a video talking about kind of this very same thing about manly traits, manhood traits uh, that they should be exhibited in relationships.
mhm.
And one of those was consistency. Another one was the ability to express oneself,
Oh, that's definitely a big.
um, and not in an emotional way, but in a practical way.
Oh, hold. What does that mean? Not in an
Okay,
emotional
okay,
way.
okay,
Don't come to me soft, man. Don't come to me
okay,
soft.
okay.
Pack
This
all
this
those
is what
feelings up and take them with you.
this is what
See,
this means.
that's
This is
one
what
of the
this means.
problems.
Emotional way would be you can't express yourself until you're very sad or very angry.
Oh, okay.
Oh no.
You can't address a problem until you've reached an emotional boiling point.
Right.
Then you spill all your feelings out about a matter.
In the wrong way.
Yeah, in the wrong way. The
Mhm.
practical way would be you recognize the situation, you recognize something that you're uncomfortable with or that you have a concern about in whatever relationship that might be, and you
Yeah,
go to that person and say, "Hey, can we talk about such and such?" And you
yeah.
express yourself that way. That earns respect, which is
Hmm.
another thing that was part of that list. Respecting the person that you're in a relationship with, respecting
Yeah.
their boundaries, respecting their values, respecting their point of views, all that stuff. Um, there's a bunch of other stuff in there, but and being, I talked about this earlier. Honesty was like a big thing. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be in a relationship where they feel like the other person is not being honest
Hmm.
or or not being forthcoming, because then that's going to cause trust issues in your relationship. So I think those are
And with
manly traits to
Hmm.
look for in improving if you're not proficient in those areas already.
now those traits, are they just um do they just you know
For the
are they
masculine.
just for romantic relationships, or can
Well,
they be across the board for anything?
they're across the board, and they kind of work for both people. But this particular video was talking about men
Yeah.
Okay.
and how men tend to be the opposite of what he listed in the list of traits that people look for in quality relationships from a man.
Okay.
Right.
Right. So what would cause a person not to be honest then?
Like we said earlier, you know, we got to break that cycle of how we teach our boys.
Hmm.
Don't be deceptive. Don't get discouraged by any means necessary.
Hmm.
Be
Yeah.
your authentic self.
So
Keeping
what?
secrets and
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
my former stepfather, whose name shall not be mentioned, in case he's watching the show by some ungodly chance.
I say put him on, bring him to the red table. I mean, I'm sorry.
I don't even know where I don't even know where he is, but yeah, the brown table.
Right.
But yeah, he had an issue with being very secretive. He would keep things private.
Oh, really?
He would hide things. He wouldn't always tell the whole story. It was a very, and that's something that a lot of men that I knew, I'll put it that way, had
Hmm.
that very same trait. You don't tell a woman everything. You don't let
Oh
her know
yeah.
all your stuff.
Yeah.
Um, a man got to have his secrets, and some women feel like that too. But we're talking about
Hmm.
men, so.
Well,
But
I know some brothers that won't tell their friends, other brothers, everything.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Here we go. What you about to say? What
No,
you about
I
to
just
say?
none.
Okay.
About to have a therapeutic moment on the show. That might be a new segment. Moment of therapy.
Moment of therapy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ray. Express yourself.
No, I'm just saying. I just want to throw that in there. I just want to throw
No,
that in
it's
there.
true. Because yeah, uh, I've not always been forthcoming in our relationship about stuff I've been dealing with,
Mhm.
and it's probably that arrogance and pride thing. I just figured I could deal with it on my own rather than burden somebody else with it. Or it might be the whole embarrassment of it all. I don't want to look like a certain kind of way in front of my
Right,
friends.
right.
I don't want to be possibly judged or ridiculed or whatever.
Yeah,
So I keep it to myself.
I think
Or
we've
I
all
might be
been
I
there.
might be engaging in behavior that I'm ashamed of, and I don't want y'all to know. So I would never tell you.
Mhm. Yeah, that could be across the board.
Yeah, I mean that's for all, but we're talking about
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
particular dynamic. But that's all relationships, period. But
right.
those are just reasons why people aren't always honest.
yeah. But I guess I don't know. You never know. I guess my thought process is if you can't handle the road that I'm coming down, this is authentically me.
Hmm.
If you can't handle it, I get it. I understand. I mean, we can just cut our losses soon because yeah, I'm gonna keep it just with me and not say we all make it general.
Mhm.
Right.
I am a flawed individual. Um, and life is teaching me lessons, and I learn from every experience that I go through. So I think if we all could just kind of look at it like that you don't have it together, and I think we gotta get out of the thing of I want my life to look like theirs.
Right.
Well,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
say that anymore because I don't know what it took for you to get to that point.
Oh yeah.
That's good.
And
That's
I don't
good.
want to go through nothing extra, to be honest with you. So
That's
I
good.
have just learned to just go ahead and pack my bag like Frodo Baggins and go on my personal journeys of life and learn my lessons.
Frodo.
Frodo, yep, and learn my lessons as I go along,
Yeah.
and just share with people, here and there. Hey, this is when I was, If you want to know personal experience, which is
Yeah.
my experience, not going to be your experience, but blah 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 blah. So yeah,
Hmm.
we just cannot. I guess we got to stop being that uncle, as I stated earlier, pulling you in the back room, giving
Right.
advice about life, how to be a man, how to be
Yeah.
a young lady, because that's not um, showing balance, because you're giving one an edge over the other.
Yeah.
So
I think the focus of those conversations ought to be how to have good interpersonal relationships.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But
exactly.
if it is to be, it starts with me.
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you come up with that?
No, I think that's like one of them old civil rights leaders or something like that. Jesse
Oh,
Jackson or
okay.
somebody.
Because I was gonna find a way to parlay that into my work week with my kids this week, and I was gonna
Mhm.
cite you the first time that I used it, but after that, it was gonna be mine.
Oh.
That's good though.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's just the truth. So, I guess the bottom line is, I guess leading with openness and honesty, because
Mhm.
it benefits you no good. Because I just remember the pressure of growing up as a kid, and we're gonna kind of wrap it up
Mhm.
soon. So if you guys want to get anything in that you haven't that you've been thinking about but that you haven't shared, do so now. But I just remember the pressure as a kid that parlayed over to being an adult is
Mhm.
that thing of, my house doesn't look as nice as my friend's house
Mhm.
does. Our
Oh
car
yeah, I
doesn't
remember
look as
those
nice
feelings.
as our
Yeah, I
car.
remember.
My clothes are not like
Oh
my
man,
friends'
Oh yeah.
clothes.
Yeah.
So, by the
Velcro
time
boots.
I hit the college years,
Mhm.
I got on a nice mask, looking
Hmm.
like, the Mask or Jigsaw from all them crazy movies since we entered the Halloween time. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah,
wasn't
boy.
authentically me, because um you want to impress. And I guess, and then that goes over into adulthood, where how adults, I'll just say adults, it's not just a man thing, because women, they will say, look what kind of, I got money in the bank, look what kind of purse I'm carrying. Means
Yeah.
Hmm.
nothing.
Oh man.
Yep.
That I just saw a video, a lady telling a story about her friend is on the social media taking all these pictures in high fashion clothes and bags and jewelry and stuff,
Hmm.
and got an eviction notice on her door. She's living with had to move in with a friend or his relative or something.
See, but
She,
here's
she
And
can't sell them
still,
bags. Can't sell the
right,
bags to get the
she
rent. She
Jay,
probably
can't rent.
need to.
see, that's what I'm talking about when I said earlier in the show how she had to know.
Mhm.
Yeah, she knew.
Did
She
she?
Yeah,
knew.
your
So,
rent is
so,
due.
no.
But you
I'm talking about the friend.
Oh, the
Oh,
Had
friend.
to know
to help
about her
her.
friend's perpetual issue of being a heavy spender and not
Right.
being wise with her money. And she, well, I'm not gonna say it's wrong for me to think this, but I would hope that she challenged her. Girl,
Right.
you about to
Right.
get
What are you
set up and
doing?
you ain't coming my way. I mean,
Right.
I would only hope.
Yeah, you would hope,
Mhm.
but everybody don't always listen, Ray.
Because I've been like,
Right.
dude, you can run those Jordans now.
Yeah.
What size they are? Then you come and stay with me for a night. Those Jordans only get you one night stay.
Mm-hmm.
See?
I mean, but you got friendships like that, man, that just feel like she'll learn, and I just don't think that
Mm-hmm.
that's a good investment of a friendship right there.
I
Now
think
that's true.
some people feel like it's not their place to speak on other people's matters. They feel like they're stepping
Yeah.
over a line if they say something about their friend's behavior. But
Right. And then too, a lot of people don't want you in their life that close in their business. I mean,
Well,
you
don't be
might be
my
in their
friend.
life. Yeah.
Don't be my friend.
Mhm.
Don't be my friend. Don't be my
Mhm.
friend. Don't be my friend. Calvin, who was our guest last week, he just
What's
said
up, Calvin?
she
Hey,
knows
Calvin.
just trying to live like the rich and famous. So she know that she's
Mhm.
just trying to
She
live like
knows.
the rich and famous.
She know. But what's the Bible say?
Right.
Faithful are the wounds of a friend,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Let your friends cut you with the good advice. Take it.
A
Mhm.
fool
'Cause
rejects correction. That's the Bible too.
Bible
That's
says.
it.
You
Mhm.
about to get sit out, girl. So you can't handle that,
Right.
Right.
then yeah.
It's
So
crazy.
yep. So there are other things that that contribute to the broken pieces of our life. So finally, fellas, I'm about to drop the hammer on. It's a conversation I've been looking forward to get into for a long time.
Let's hear it.
And our guest, we have a guest, and I want to see if we can get him on, not next week, but week
Mhm.
after next, but next week we can begin to start the conversation.
Which week is that? First week in November?
First week of November. Well, next week is what? Next week is the 29th.
Yeah. I think that's a
28th,
weekend off.
30th,
Yeah.
30th. Yeah, so we can start the conversation then,
Is that
One
is
more
not a
Sunday
weekend
in
off?
this month.
and we can bring him in the first
Or do
Sunday.
we already have a week off this month?
Oh, we had our week off.
Okay.
We
Just
did.
checking.
Yeah,
Just checking.
we have been inconsistent, but
We have.
Hey, we here now. Let's keep it going.
we here. Yep, we are here,
Okay.
and I love the fact that we have folks that are on with us and just chilling.
Shout out
but yeah,
to all the visitors and those who shared and commented and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. Thank you.
yeah. But that
Yes.
piece about pornography.
Oh, okay. He's ready.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss that show.
Where you gonna be at?
Wait.
I'm gonna call in sick.
You are silly, man.
That's gonna be a serious
You're silly.
conversation right there, boy.
Oh,
I'm
man.
looking
I
forward
mean-
to that. I'm looking forward
That-
to it.
And
Yeah.
that's a never-ending conversation too.
Mhm.
It is. And so I just chatted it up with him last week, and he's like, "Hey, whenever you're ready for me." So if you are
Okay.
watching 2 weeks from today, but I'll definitely be reaching out to you. He's ready. I just gotta give him a date. So I think it's time now, as we keep pushing it back, and I think that contributes to a lot of people's areas. It's not just a men thing. I think
Okay.
it contributes to a lot of people's brokenness, especially in the romantic area of life. So that being said, we are up on the hour of close. Man, did it
Yes,
shoot
sir.
by?
It did go by
So-
quickly, but it was a good conversation.
Yep.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
did. It did.
Good
So,
one.
Nate,
Yes,
I
sir.
do believe that you have the wisdom nugget
Yes, sir.
for this evening.
Let's do it.
So let me set you up,
All right. Drum roll, please.
which is solo.
Oh,
Okay, wait.
wisdom nugget for tonight. Okay, you got something to say? Okay, wisdom nugget. There we go. Wisdom nugget for tonight is kind of on par with the relationship conversation. Basically, do not engage in activities and behaviors that you feel the need to hide from your friends, parents, pastors, or spouse. If you cannot do it in front of them, you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Good.
Wow. Well
that's
said,
really good.
bro.
That's
Well
wise.
said.
That's wise.
That's wise.
Very wise.
That's wise. That's wise.
I thank
With
you for
obvious
that nugget.
exceptions, you know, there's certain things you're not gonna do in front of your mama, but you know, obvious exceptions. But we talking about, you know,
Got you.
yeah,
Got you. You can't cuss the person out and say, well, mama, you had to come into him.
right. It's
But
those
as
deep,
always,
secret, hard hidden things that we talking about.
yeah, yep, exactly. And those deep secret things are the
Yeah.
things that lead to that broken piece syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Broken pieces. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And could be a result of it too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Riveting conversation, fellas. Riveting conversation.
Yeah.
Riveting conversation, man. As
Riveting.
always, I enjoy sharing the screen with you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you, all of our listeners,
Mhm.
watchers.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you, people.
Comment, drop stuff in the comments. Now you had
Shout
thought
out-
about something to kind of do. What did you say? Ask.
Oh
What was
yeah,
that thing?
we should do a Ask Me Anything segment. Probably maybe next week, since we got a big week coming up week after that. Hey, if for those of you who are watching, you know, prepare some questions. Ask us anything. Any one of us. We'll answer it live on the air. Anything.
Ooh.
Anything.
Well, I'm going to warn people right now.
No, don't be inhibited. Ask what you want.
What's
Okay, they
that
can ask
lady's
what they
box?
want. But if I have to go if I have to take a bathroom break, y'all go on with the
We'll
show.
save the question till you come back.
No, go on with the show. I just missed that question. I just missed.
But yeah,
All right,
we'll
man.
probably do it at the top of the hour next week. Get it going, something different. So prepare your questions.
Cal, I just got to end this with this. Calvin said, "Can someone put on a Michigan hat?" Can't
Ooh.
do it.
What?
Can't do it. I promise you.
I got on my Carolina hat. Rocking the
I-
Carolina hat. The Panthers, baby.
I have never owned anything in my wardrobe ever with
Wow.
Michigan Wolverines on it.
Really never?
Never, and I will never.
What?
But you're from Michigan.
Right. They don't do it for me like
Growing up
that.
in Detroit, it's like automatic. You
Yeah.
them.
You know
Fab Five, all that.
You know who my Michigan is.
Fab Five.
No.
But you wasn't rocking with the Fab Five?
Fat Five was cool, but who has been my school from day one since we met, dude?
Man, you just a different breed, bro.
I'm
You're a
not gonna
different
put it on
breed.
the screen tonight.
Don't
Exactly
put it on
going
screen.
grabs. I'm not gonna do it. I could just put a hat in here easily. My Michigan brother Calvin is Syracuse University. I'm sorry.
Bayheim and all them.
Bayheim and the boys. Bayheim and the boys. But all right. I will see you guys next week. Looking forward to the chat as always. Everybody take care, be safe. And until we talk again.
Till we meet again. Thanks, guys.